Welcome to Naptime Sports Talk Podcast. We are two dads talking sports during nap times. Thank you for tuning in to the latest episode. Welcome back to Naptime Sports Talk Podcast. For today's episode, we're going to go over a preview into the Minnesota Vikings regular season and make our record predictions. So before we start, I just wanted to welcome everyone back. I took this summer off a little bit just to relax and rejuvenate and spend time with our families and friends. And also, I just want to welcome back a friend of the show today, DC. DC, how are you doing today? Thank you for joining me on this Season 2, Episode 1 podcast.
I'm doing awesome, man. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I am excited for the football season to start up. The Minnesota Gophers played last night versus North Carolina. Unfortunately, missed a field goal to end the game, to lose. So that was a little bummer, but other than that, I'm doing really well. So, but before we get into our Vikings-related topics, there's just a few things I would like to go over before we start. Woke up this morning to some just heart-wrenching news. Johnny Gaudreau, a NHL hockey player, tragically, him and his brother were both hit by a car on their bicycles and both lost their life. So rest in peace to Johnny Gaudreau and his brother, and our thoughts and prayers are with their family, and just a heart-wrenching situation and just a very tragic event. So moving into the Vikings, I think also on another somber note, it would be a failure to mention the tragedy of losing Kyrie Jackson this offseason and the two other, ex-college football players too. Just another terrible situation where they were struck by a drunk driver. Kyrie Jackson looked like he was going to be a big part of this offense or defense, but the most important thing is 3 young people lost their lives way too early. So this thing of drinking and driving, man, it's just not something that's good. And people got to think about before they get behind the wheel when they're intoxicated, because you're putting your life at jeopardy, putting other people's lives at jeopardies, and it's just a very selfish thing to do. So just to start on some little somber topics before we get started here. So moving on, or DC, do you have anything you'd like to add to that?
Yeah, it's just I heard the news about Johnny this morning. It was just mind-blowing, and the hockey community lost a very good hockey player, and he was just a very good hockey player for Columbus and for Calgary and all that stuff. He was a hell of a hockey player, and just hearing the news from him and his brother Matt just losing their lives at such a young age, it's just
sure.
It's very sad. And then hearing the loss of Kyrie Jackson, I think all Vikings fans were just devastated about that. And I think he was going to be probably be a good stud for this Vikings defense, all that stuff. And it's just very sad news to hear that. And people just get behind the wheel when they're drinking. It's just not smart. Like, if you know that you can't drive, call a DD or call a cab or something. Just don't get behind the wheel and sacrifice someone else's life like that. You took away 3 young lives that just are forming in your life and everything. So it's very devastating.
Yeah, for sure. So, yep, don't be drinking and drive, like Dan said. There's a lot of avenues to, if you are drinking, to call a cab, call an Uber, set up a plan have a plan in place before you make that selfish act. So, well, moving on to our Vikings-related topic. So we're going to just dive right into this 53-man roster. So we're going to start at the quarterback position. So big bummer. Big D and I went to the Vikings preseason game versus the Las Vegas Raiders. Vikes won on that game-winning field goal there to end the game. It was a really entertaining game. It was very enjoyable just to be back there watching football. Usually preseason games can kind of be a snoozer, but I was highly entertained that day, that's for sure. And to watch JJ McCarthy, and unfortunately, news broke out later that he ended up having a torn meniscus, and we all know how that went with the season-ending surgery and all that. So, but you know what? Sam Darnold's the guy now. We'll see what happens. JJ can take the mental reps. He can sit and learn the offense and not have to be rushed to start right away. So, yeah, so our 53 for the quarterbacks, we have Sam Darnold, Nick Mullins, and then recently we actually just cut Jaron Hall and we signed Brett Ripon, who was a former quarterback out of Boise State. So that was an interesting move. Obviously, Darnold, Mullins, the top two guys there, and hopefully we don't have to rely on going into Brett Ripon at all. But yeah, I like the room for the most part, and we'll see what happens. Sam Darnold, he has the ability, but yeah, we'll see if he can not make those kind of stupid plays that he kind of does. He kind of gets a little pressured and maybe dances around the pocket a little too much and throws balls up and gets picked off. So hopefully he can just be settled, and I think KOC will help him all with that. But what do you think about this quarterback room, DC, going into the regular season?
I like it. I really do. And you just told me now that Hill got cut. I didn't know that he got cut. Anything, but I think Sam Darnold is going to have a very solid season. He probably is going to have the best wide receiver crew that he ever played with JJ and Addison, and when Hawkinson comes back from his injury. But they're saying that he had an awesome training camp, and he did look pretty good during the preseason game for his this first drive. So I think he's gonna be I think he'll be all right and all that stuff. And he just has to be patient in the pocket and make the right throws, and I think he's just gonna be just fine.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. So, like you said, he's got a good supporting cast, and he just has to he doesn't need to be the guy. He can just go out there and kind of game manage a little bit for us, and hopefully we can run the ball a little better this year and play good defense. So, moving on though to our running back. So, they left the 53, or the initial 53 has two running backs on there, Aaron Jones, Ty Chandler. Very excited about both of them. They ended up waiving Dwayne McBride, Mo Ibrahim, who played with the Gophers. Then he was with the Detroit Lions last year, I believe, on their practice squad. Kenny Nwangu, that was a surprise cut for me. I thought he was for sure going to be the third back. He ended up actually getting signed by the New Orleans Saints, so he is now a Saint, which is something that I hate because you know how am I feeling for the New Orleans Saints. But we'll get a little more into the practice squad because some of those guys I mentioned kind of went to our practice squad. So they can elevate those guys, I think, 4 times a year before they have to sign them to the 53-man roster. So maybe that's what they're doing. I haven't heard of anything as of now that we've signed a new running back. This is obviously recording at the moment, so on Friday. So if something happens over this weekend before this podcast comes out, that's a very potential thing that they might have brought someone in. So, and then yeah, CJ Ham's back at fullback. Heck yeah, just a stout fullback, one of the best fullbacks in the game. So shout out to CJ, Duluth native, Denfeld boy. So yeah, happy to have CJ back. Good vet in that locker room. And then receivers, I like this group. Coming into the offseason, I was a little worried about what our receiving core is going to look like, and just watching these guys over the process of the preseason. We knew some of these guys had the talent. The question was, well, can they stay healthy? And hopefully they can stay healthy through the regular season, because I'm really, really excited for this kid that he's finally kind of getting his chance. He's staying healthy, and that is Jalen Naylor. So Jalen Naylor is on the 53, along with Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, Brandon Powell's back. Tristan Jackson had a heck of a camp, heck of a preseason. He had a touchdown in every game. He just looks so fluid out there. Big-bodied wide receiver, too, can go up and get the ball. But I just feel like he's really progressed the last couple of years. Spent some time with us. He was on the 53 at some point last year, played some games. But he's been kind of with our practice squad for the most part. But I'm excited for Tristan Jackson. I'm excited for Jalen Naylor to see what he can do in that third wide receiver spot. And then Trent Sherfield Sr., he's just another guy that's a stout wide receiver. He's kind of a role kind of guy. He's a really good run blocker, so might get into games for run blocking situations down the field and things like that. So, but yeah, moving to the tight ends, we have Josh Oliver, Johnny Munt, Nick Muse. I thought Nick Muse had a fantastic preseason and training camp, really stepped up. So yeah, these guys will just have to obviously take over until TJ Hawkinson comes back. He's going to miss the first 4 games of the season being on the PUP list. And, unfortunately, when his season was, he injured it late in the year. So you never know if his aides with those knee injuries when they'll come back and be ready to roll. But I believe our bye week this week is week 5. Let's see, week 6. Our bye is week 6. So that is nice to have that in there just in case he has to miss the first 5 games of the year. But I'm hoping he does not. Moving into our offensive line, we have back left tackle Christian Darrisaw, center Garrett Bradbury. Ed Ingram will be starting as of now on the guard spot. Blake Brandel is a guy that maybe I think he is going to be starting in the left guard spot. He's had a really terrific training camp as well in preseason. He's a guy I've liked his development over the last few years. Then Brian O'Neill is going to lock down that right tackle spot. Then we have some backups. David Questenberry, Walter Rouse had a really fantastic camp. They're really high on him. A lot of people think he can be a starting right tackle or tackle in this league. So he's very smart out of Stanford. Dan Feeney, Michael Juergens, a kid from West Virginia we drafted. He'll be the backup to Garrett Bradbury. He's pretty stout too, has flexibility to play guard spot as well. But the big one was Dalton Reisner. He was put on the IR, so I'm not sure what's going on with him with his injury. I know he missed pretty much all of training camp in the preseason, but we will see what happens with Reisner and if he'll get back. And if he does, we'll see. But hey, from what I've seen from Blake Brandel, he's been pretty good. And then we'll see what Ed Ingram can do. I thought he took a step forward last year. So how do you feel about those big hog mollies, Big D?
I like it. I like it a lot. They did look solid in that Raiders game, and if they just stay healthy I think it would be just fine. I think they're gonna protect Sam Donald, and hopefully Aaron Jones can hit the holes and get some big yards.
Yeah, I'm really excited to have that dynamic of Aaron Jones. Ty Chandler keeps taking steps forward, I think. We'll see if he has gotten better at the pass blocking on third downs, because that was one of the struggles the last season, as a rookie. But hey, that doesn't mean that you can't develop that. So I'm really excited to see this running back group and see how we can move the ball in the rushing attack.
Yeah, I have big hypes for Ty Chandler. I like him a lot. He's probably one of my top favorite Vikings right now on the team and everything. And if the offensive line can block for him and Jones, it could be fun to see, and it might be dangerous out there.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I'm really excited what we can do there.
And get some pressure off of JJ and Alice and all that stuff, because you just can't keep throwing them the ball 34 times. You need to run the ball at least. You need to at least run the ball at least 30 times a game to get the pressure off.
The run will open up the pass game with, play action passes and things like that. So we gotta get that run game going so we can get those guys open. So
I think our run game's gonna be better than last year.
Yeah, I think so too. Aaron Jones is a really good back. It's just, hey, can he stay healthy? He's had injury concerns in the past too. So we'll see. That's the biggest thing, is if these guys can stay healthy. So Well, moving on to our defensive line. So we're gonna have back Jonathan Bullard, Harrison Phillips is returning, Jerry Tillery, he's new to us. He was with the Raiders last year. Actually, we signed him this offseason. He'll be kind of like our nose tackle kind of guy up in the middle. Levi Drake Rodriguez was a 7th round pick. Really excited about him. He just seems like a really great kid. Has a lot of high energy. I know they're really excited about him too. I don't know his role this year. He might get in some situations, but I don't think he's gonna be a every down guy, nothing like that. But I think he's gonna be a good rotational piece. Maybe have some pass rush up the middle because he's got some skill with that. Jalen Redmond and then Taki Tamani. Those are two guys, I'm not going to lie, I haven't really heard of before. So we'll see what happens here with that line. But one thing that really surprised me is they ended up waiving Jaquelin Roy. We had him drafted out at LSU. I can't remember if it was like a couple years ago or 3 years ago, but I was kind of surprised by that pick. And then, or wave or cut. And then James Lynch and Jonah Williams were also let go. So we have a different D line group. I'm excited to see what these guys can do. So it's going to be new to us. So, but going into the outside backers, this is something I'm very excited. Obviously, we lost Daniil Hunter this offseason to the Houston Texans. We also lost Wanham to the Carolina Panthers. And here we go. Jonathan Grenard, Andrew Van Ginkel, Pat Jones, Dallas Turner, and G. Edward Ward. I really like the depth of this group. I think this group is better than past group. That's what I think. Obviously, Hunter, great outside, edge rusher. But overall, I feel like our depth was kind of lacking last year, and I feel like overall we have some better depth this year. So I'm really excited to see what Dallas Turner can do for us. He had some nice plays in the preseason too. He's still developing, and hey, he gets to go versus Brian O'Neill and Christian Darrisaw in practice every day. So iron sharpens iron. I think that's gonna really help him. And then we'll kind of get to the other guys they waived because some of these guys got to the practice squad. So we'll talk about them when we get there. The biggest one, though, that was kind of put on the, placed on the IR was one of our top FAs or undrafted free agents last year. That was Gabriel Murphy out of UCLA. So he was put on the IR for injury. So inside linebackers, we're going to have Blake Cashman and Ivan Pace Jr. Those two are going to be the guys that are going to, I think, get most of the time. I was happy to see Brian Asamoah take a step forward a little bit in the preseason. Man, he was out there late in games too, so I was worried that he was going to get cut. He, not saying that he's free yet, but hey, I think I'm hoping that he can take a step forward because KYC's first draft class is looking kind of slim pickings right now. But then we have Camu Gruger Hill. He'll be inside as depth too, but yeah, the two guys there, Blake Cashman, Ivan Pace Jr. I think Asamoah might get in there a little bit for role plays for certain situations and things like that. So, moving on to cornerbacks. So this is going to be an interesting group this year. A lot of new names, a lot of new faces in this group. Looking at the list, we're returning 1-2 guys in this room from last year. So obviously we let go Andrew Booth Jr. We traded him to Dallas this offseason, or not the offseason, the training camp. So 53, this is one that I'm excited about. Stephon Gilmore came to join the Vikes. Highly vet cornerback, stout. He's kind of getting up there in age, but I think he's going to be a great guy in that cornerback room for us. Byron Murphy's returning for us, or I should say Byron Murphy Jr. is returning for us at the cornerback position. Shaq Griffin, Caleb Evans will be back. Fabian Moreau will be back. And I am super happy this next guy made the team because I was really excited that we took a chance and signed him as a UDFA. And I was really shocked that he was not drafted because he's had a heck of a camp making plays. And I think he's someone that we could watch potentially develop. And that's Dwight McLauthern out of Arkansas. So I'm really excited that he made this team and looking forward to see what he can do. They did cut Duke Shelley. Duke Shelley was kind of a fan favorite. He was a part of that Donna Shell defense. Don't even want to go back in that memory bank, but he was a good corner that I like, but we terminated his contract. Moving on to safeties, I really like this group too. So, overall, this defense I think is looking pretty stout. It'll be, I'm sure there'll be some learning curves and things like that, and maybe some gelling to do on defense. We know how long that takes, but the defense has been balling out all preseason, so we'll see what happens. But Harrison Smith, Cameron Bynum, Josh Metellus, Theo Jackson, and Jay Ward. And the big cut, Lewis Seen. So Lewis Seen, our first round pick, but first round pick back in Kwesi's first draft, was cut. And he was actually picked up by the New York Jets. So good luck to you, Lewis Seen. we'll see what you can do. So then moving to our specialists. So we have a pretty much, I wouldn't say new specialist group. We have one new specialist, and that's Will Reichard, kicker out of Alabama. He looked amazing during training camp and preseason, so I'm really excited to see what he can do for us. I'm hoping that we found our kicker for the future here and for years to come.
Yeah, same
Ryan
here.
Wright's back at punter, and then long snapper Andrew DePaulo is back as well. So that is our 53 overall. What do you think?
Solid. I really like it. I really do. Uh,
Yeah,
I'm a big hype on that linebacker. Like that, I think our linebacker core is gonna be way better than last year. Young, fast, and everything. So I'm very very excited for
for sure.
our defense and all around the whole team. I think we're I I think we have a solid team this year.
Yeah, I think our defense is going to be the catalyst, hopefully, for us. The one thing I do have a little concern about is just that D line and the interior. We'll see what happens. If those guys can push their way through, and we'll see. And some of the cornerbacks, but we got experience. Stephon Gilmore, Byron Murphy Jr., Shaq Griffin, all these guys have experience. Evans, Fabian Moreau. Obviously not the super high end guys, but we'll see what happens with that. And I think our safeties are pretty stout. Nice to have Josh Metellus back. Theo Jackson has had a tremendous training camp in the offseason. Brian Flores raves about him. I guess he's a very smart safety, and has a very high football intelligence as well. So I'm excited to see what he can do as a situational guy, maybe. And then Metellus, seeing what he can build off last year, because I thought he had a fantastic season last year.
Yeah, because I can see our defense being a top 10 defense in the NFL.
You doing that prediction top 10?
Yeah, I'm going top 10.
Okay, I like it. Yeah, I think we could potentially be a top 20 defense, maybe get in the top 15, I would say. So, but yeah, if we're in the top 10, that'd be amazing, D. So I'd hope that's true.
If we stay healthy, or we'll be dangerous, all that stuff, because we have so much talent back there and everything. So because we got the free agents that we got, all that stuff, and Ginkgo, all of them, and I think they're gonna step up and with that Brian Flores defense and everything. So I I'm I'm ready them to rock and roll.
Yeah. We'll do our season prediction here pretty soon. We'll go over the schedule and just do our win losses and see how it pans out. But moving on to our practice squad. So they signed 17 players on the practice squad. I'm not going to go over every single one of these, but I'll kind of go over notable names. So N'Keal Harry made it to the practice squad. Dwayne McBride, running back, made it to the practice squad. Myles Gaskin, running back as well. Jalen Williams, cornerback. Nashawn Wright, cornerback. That's who we traded Andrew Booth Jr. for from the Dallas Cowboys. Bobby McCain, that's a nice guy to have on the practice squad. He can get elevated. So they put Andre Carter II, outside linebacker, edge rusher. He's on the practice squad. Lucky Jackson, I thought he had a good training camp in preseason as well as a wide receiver. Robert Tonyan, that's good experience to have there in the tight end in the practice squad. And then another guy, Jonah Williams made it, Dallas Gant. And this guy, I'm really excited to see what he can do and the practice squad, see his development, because I thought he had a really, really strong training camp. I wasn't thinking he's going to make the team, but I'm glad that he didn't get picked up in waiver, and that's Bo Richter, outside linebacker. So if you're watching the games, he was wearing number 98, had that elbow pad on his arm as well. So I think he will be a guy to watch out for maybe in the future to see what he can do for us. But moving on, we're just going to hop right into the schedule. So here we go. So Big D. Do you want me to let it rip or do you want to let it rip?
You can let it rip.
Okay. So game 1 on September 8th at 12 p.m. we are playing the New York Giants at MetLife Stadium. I think the Vikings are going to come out with a victory in week 1 over the Giants. What do you think?
I think so too.
All right. So next week, or week 2, we play the San Francisco 49ers at home. This could be a tough home game coming back. We got San Fran last year. They're missing some guys on their team that day, but hey, we made the most of it. But I'm going to say we're going to take an L, unfortunately, at home that game. We're going to drop the 1-1. How about you?
Yeah, I think so too.
Okay. So moving to the next week, week 3, Houston Texans. Danielle Hunter comes back to U.S. Bank Stadium to face the Texans. Texans are a pretty hot and hype team right now. They have a heck of a team, heck of a coach with D'Amico Ryans. Quarterback CJ Stroud looked fantastic last year, so they're really up and coming. This is a very difficult one. It's a noon game, September 22nd on CBS. And I'm going to say that the Vikings are going to get their first home win of the season to go to 2-1 on the year. What do you think, DC?
Yeah, I agree with you too.
So I would not be surprised if we end up losing, but I'm going to say we get a win here.
Yeah, it's gonna be a battle because that team is coming a long way, and
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Ryan is doing a heck of a job over there right now, and that's a scary team right now.
Yep, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. So the next week, we start our first NFC North game of the year. We play the Green Bay Packers on September 29th, Sunday at noon at Lambeau Field. Man, it'd be nice to go back in there and beat them like we did last year in Lambeau, but I think we're going to probably maybe split with the Packers this year, and I'm going to say we're going to lose that game, unfortunately, at Lambeau Field.
Yeah, same here. Feels like we always have a hard time beat them in Lambeau.
Yeah, for sure. So I have them going 2-2 right now. Heading into week 5, you have them 2-2 as well, heading into week 5. So week 5, next game is over the pond at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium over in London, the UK there. It's on October 6th at 8:30 in the morning. So that'll be early one. Make sure you get up for that on NFL Network. And we are playing the New York Jets. So, hey, this is going to be an interesting game. See what Aaron Rodgers can do with the Jets this year if he stays healthy. I hope he does stay healthy because I really do want to see what he can do on this Jets team. Man, we're coming off a loss versus the Packers. You know what? I'm going to say the Vikes sneak out a win over there in the UK, and we go to 3-2.
I totally agree on that one.
Do you think they're going to win too?
Yeah, we just can't stay away from Rodgers. It's just he has our
Right.
number. He has our number, but I think we're gonna pull the victory.
Yeah. I think 3-2, 2-3 at this point. I feel like I can see either way with the Vikes roster, so we'll see what happens. But hey, I think we might be better this year than people maybe think. We'll see how the roster or how the schedule turns out. But week 6, we're on a bye, so we'll come back on a bye. Hopefully, we got Hawkinson coming in for this next game versus the Detroit Lions, week 7, October 20th at noon at U.S. Bank Stadium. Unfortunately, DC, I think we take an L versus the Lions at home. I feel like the Lions are going to be another great squad this year, and until I can see it, I'm going to pick the Lions in this matchup. How about yourself?
I'm gonna disagree with you on this one. I
All
think we're
right, I
gonna.
like it.
I think we're gonna take. I think we're gonna take the dub at home.
All right, so you got them going to 4-2. Have the Vikes at 3-3. Moving into week 8, we go out. It's a Thursday night game, 10:24. We play the Los Angeles Rams in SoFi Stadium. Big D, I'm gonna let you roll on this one first. Who do you got?
I think I'm gonna pick the dub. I'm gonna pick the dub.
Okay.
Yeah, Matt Stafford and Cooper and Puka and Nuka. It's gonna be a tough battle with the corners, but I think we're gonna come out with a victory.
All right, so you have them going 5-2 through that week. I'm gonna say that the Vikes are going to unfortunately take that loss there at SoFi Stadium versus the Rams. I think the Rams are going to have a pretty good squad this year. We'll see what happens, but it'd be cool to see KLC go back there and get a victory for us in this team. But moving into week 9, we will be hosting the Indianapolis Colts on Sunday, November 3rd at 12 p.m. I'm going to roll on this one. I'm going to say we bounce back from our last 2 losses and we get a victory versus the Colts here to move to 4-4.
Yeah, I pick a win. I just hopefully we won't have to break a record again for falling behind 33-0 at halftime and like that. So hopefully
Right.
hopefully that doesn't happen. So yep, I'm gonna pick the victory.
All right. So moving on to week 10, we are going to go fly down to the Sunshine State, and we're playing the Jacksonville Jaguars on November 10th at 12 p.m. We'll be on Fox that day. I'm going to say we're going to go down to Jacksonville, and we're going to destroy some Jaguars, and we're going to win that game to move the 5-4 on the season.
I totally agree.
So you have them at 7-2. I have them at 5-4 right now. Next game, we are going to go down, or we're going to stay down that area or go back to that area into Tennessee, into Nashville there. We're going to play the Tennessee Titans on Sunday, November 17th at 12 p.m. DC, I'll let you roll on this one. Who do you got?
I'm gonna take a loss.
Okay.
I know they're not gonna have Derrick Henry there, but they're saying that Tennessee is supposed to have a little bit better team than last year. But still, yeah, I think we're gonna take the loss on that one.
Okay. I think we are going to go down there. I think we're going to get a little streak going. We're going to win that game to move on to 6-4. So you have them at 7-3. I have them at 6-4. Moving on to week 12, we are playing the Chicago Bears at Soldier Field on November 24th at 12 p.m. DC, who do you got?
I think we're gonna split with Chicago, and I think I'm gonna take the loss at Soldier Field.
Okay. I'm going to agree with you. I think we're going to lose at Soldier Field too. Some for, last year we beat them at Soldier Field and they beat us at home. Last year we also beat Green Bay at Lambeau and lost at home. And then obviously lost both games versus the Lions. But something about going to Soldier Field, I feel like we always, except for last year, we kind of were all right. But for the most part, I seem like we always kind of struggle there. They get in a rhythm, they get going. So I just think Chicago's be a lot better this year. So I'm gonna have us take a loss on that one too.
Was that last year? It was a low scoring game in last year too against Chicago.
It was for a little bit, and then Fields got hurt in the game. Right. Then we kind of took over after that. But yeah, that was a Fields game when he hurt his hand.
That's right.
And then Tyson Bagent came in and played that game or the rest of it. So moving on to week 13, we have the pleasure of hosting the Arizona Cardinals on December 1st at 12 p.m. I'm going to say that we're going to beat the Cardinals this time. We're going to move them. We're going to move on to 7-5 on the year.
Yeah, I think I'm going to pick the win too. It's just going to be another tough wide receiver because of Marvin Harrison Jr. and all that stuff. Because he was one of the top wide receivers in the draft, and so I think we're gonna beat him, but it's gonna be tough with them.
Yeah, it's gonna be a fun. That's gonna be a really fun game to go or watch, and that might even be a fun game to go to see Marvin Harrison Jr. in person. So
yeah.
So we're moving on to week 14. We have the pleasure of hosting the Atlanta Falcons on December 8th at 12 p.m. Kirk Cousins comes back to U.S. Bank Stadium. So we have Hunter coming back and we have Kirk coming back. I think Kirk's going to get us this one, and he's going to, if he's still playing, and we're going to drop to 7-6. Unfortunately, the Falcons are going to beat us in this game.
See, I'm not going to be mad about this game. Because I am, of course, Vikings are my number one team, and I'm a Falcons fan. But Kirk coming back to the bank, and everybody's going to have the hype. But I think Sam Darnold is going to beat Kirk Cousins.
Okay.
So I got the win.
So you're gonna have the Vikes go to 9-4 on the season. I like it. That's what I hope for, man. We play every game to win, right? So
Yep.
hopefully they win every single game,
Yeah.
But being realistic, I don't think that we're gonna win every game, and that's a very difficult thing to do. But yeah,
Mhm.
I would be very happy about that, D, and I'll be very happy about the season right now, 9-4, because as you know, and a lot of Vikings fans know, sometimes, not sometimes, when they win and lose, it kind of makes you feel pretty good during the week, or it can make you kind of set up for a little crappy week. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
not gonna lie, football can affect your mood. So that is for sure.
Hopefully the
Especially
girl
when you have those damn Packer fans in this area who like to rub it in.
It's just hopefully the girlfriends or the wives don't make us mad during the week.
Well, let's hope not, DC. Let's hope we don't piss them off either, because I'm sure we do that as plenty. All right, so moving on, week 15 on December 16th, we are playing the Chicago Bears at home. You said you thought that we're going to split with the Bears this year, so I'm guessing you're going to be taking the win on that one.
Yep.
I'm going to say the Vikes are going to drop 2 games of the Bears this year. I just have a feeling that Caleb and the Bears are going to be pretty special. We'll see what happens. I'm going to have the Vikes go 7-7 at this point, and you got them going 10-4. So now we move on to week 16. We got the Seattle Seahawks on December 22nd at 3:05 p.m. Central Time in Seattle, Lumen Field. DC, who do you got?
I'm gonna take a loss.
Okay. So you guys dropping the 10-5. I'm gonna say that we're gonna win this game, and we're gonna go 8. We're gonna move on to 8-7 for the football season. Okay. Last 2 games of the year are tough ones. Big games versus rival teams, and week 17 we got the Green Bay Packers coming to US Bank Stadium. DC, who do you got? So you got the Vikes moving to 11-5. You know what? I'm going to have the Vikes win this game. I think I had them lose versus Green Bay early on, so I think we're going to split with them. I think we're going to 9-7 this year. Not this year, but at this point of the season. Now we're moving on to week 18. We go back to Ford Field the end of the year versus Detroit Lions. DC, who do you got?
We're gonna beat Detroit, and we're gonna win the North.
So you're projecting, so we're going to do this after. So you have the Vikings winning the NFC North.
Yes.
All right. I'm going to say the Vikes going to drop this game. We're going to go 9-8. And I'll tell you what I think. So I think my prediction for this year for the North, I feel like I'm going to say something a little different. I don't like this, but I'm going to have the Green Bay Packers, unfortunately, be back on top of the NFC North. I'm going to have the Detroit Lions coming in at second. I'm going to have the Chicago Bears coming in at third. And then I'm going to have the Vikes, unfortunately, coming in at fourth in our division.
I can see that. I think we're gonna win the North.
All right. Well, who do you got coming in at second in the division?
So I'm gonna go. Vikes, Detroit, Green Bay, Chicago.
All right.
Hey,
I like it.
everybody has all this hypes on Caleb Williams. Everybody do. I think he's gonna have a good rookie year, but I don't think he has enough talent to have him win the North this first year in the league. Yes, he has the weapons, but I just don't think he has it this year for winning the North. I think they could win the North next year, but I don't think they have it win it this year.
Yeah, I don't think the Bears will win the North either this year. I do think they'll be a much improved team and potentially be on the fence of make it, or potentially could make the playoffs in this scenario. I believe that maybe 3 NFC North teams will be in the playoffs. So,
Mhm.
so I asked our friend of the show, or I should say co-host, Zach, what his prediction was for this season. So here's his prediction. So the NFC North, he has the Lions at number 1 going 11-6. He has the Packers going 2 at 10-7. The Bears at 3 at 10-7 as well. He has the Vikes going 7-10 this season is his prediction. And then for his AFC West, as we know, he's a huge Raiders fan. He has the Chiefs going first, 12-5. Raiders coming in at second, 9-8. The Chargers coming in at third, 8-9, and then the Broncos come in at fourth, 7-10. So it'll be an interesting season. I'm super excited for this. And if you're friends of ours, if you follow us on social media, hey, send me your record prediction. I'll be curious to see what you think too. So super excited, man. Vikes football is upon us. College football is here. It's a beautiful time of the year, baby.
Yes, it is.
So we're going to move into our last segment on the podcast today, and we're just going to go over quickly our season predictions for the NFL. So we're going to go over the MVP, Offense Player of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, Offensive Rookie of the Year, Defense Rookie of the Year, and then we're going to end the show with our Super Bowl prediction as well. So I'm going to start off. It's hard not to pick this player. I didn't want to pick this player to be on top of the league again. Well, actually, last year he didn't win it because Lamar Jackson won it. But I think this next year, then definitely the MVP will probably go back to Patrick Mahomes because I feel like the Chiefs are going to be pretty darn good again this season. And hey, he's the best quarterback in the NFL right now, in my opinion. I think a lot of people would agree with that, and the majority of people agree with that. So I'm going to have Patrick Mahomes, or like my dad likes to say, Patrick McCombs, winning the NFL MVP to win or to for this football season. And my dad, he doesn't even try to like make that as a joke. He just calls him Patrick McCombs for some reason. So, Dad, if you're listening, I always get a kick out of that one. And thank you for listening in. uh,
Oh my
so
goodness.
who do you have DC winning the NFL MVP this season?
I agree with you. I'm picking Patrick Mahomes to win the MVP.
Okay. Yeah.
I just have that image in your head for your dad saying that. I just uh
Uh, that is funny. Well, moving on to our offense player of the year, I think the offense player this year of the year is going to be Tyreek Hill. He just puts up in just crazy amount of, or just high numbers for yardage and touchdowns and catches. So, in my opinion, yeah, obviously people may think I'm a little biased at this or on this topic, but obviously I still pick JJ as number 1. I think Tyreek Hill is number 2 for wide receivers in the NFL, but I think he's going to get it this year. Who do you think, DC? Who do you think is going to win Offensive Player of the Year?
dude, this is gonna be super tough. Like, of course I want JJ to win it, but I'm not gonna pick
Mhm.
JJ. Um for offense player of the year, oh I'm gonna go with Jamar Chase.
All right. Yeah,
I
I
think
could see it if Burrow can stay healthy.
yeah, yeah, like you said, if Burrow stays healthy, he's gonna get Chase. Chase is his number 1 receiver, so he's gonna give Chase the
Mhm.
ball, and I think Chase can put numbers up.
Oh, for sure. He's a top 10 wide receiver
He,
in the NFL.
oh yeah,
So
I totally
could
agree.
be top 5 for
Yes.
me. I would be happy with that, honestly, because I drafted Jamar Chase in Fantasy Football League. So, hey, if he wins Offensive Player of the Year, hey, I might be winning my Fantasy Football League. So I would be very happy about that. So moving on to Defensive Player of the Year, I think this player got snubbed last year and not winning it, and he is just BA, and that is Max Crosby, absolute dog. I think he's going to get it done this year. I think, yeah, like I said, I thought he was snubbed last year. He should have won it. And the fact that he didn't have any first place votes just kind of blew my mind, honestly, because I feel like if you look at a defense, you look at a team, he was the difference maker on that team, on that defense. So I think he gets it done this year. Having Christian Wilkins up the middle for the Raiders this year is going to help them tremendously too. So I'm really excited to see what the Raiders can do this season. And yeah, I think Max Crosby is going to walk away with Defensive Player of the Year this year.
Yeah, I totally agree with you with Matt Crosby. I think he just got screwed with all of that. But I'm not going to pick Matt Crosby. Sorry, Zach. I'm going to pick Micah Parsons for Defensive Player of the Year.
Okay.
He is just an animal out there, and probably
Mm-hmm.
one of the best linebackers in the NFL right now. And he's super young, so I am going to pick Marco Parsons for winning the Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah, I like it. I like it a lot. You know, one thing that I've been hearing kind of around the NFL, just surrounding training camp and preseason, is that we got a guy on our team that we drafted this year that's looking pretty good, and a lot of people think Micah Parsons and him are a good comp, and that's Dallas Turner. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
excited to see Dallas Turner this season. Offensive rookie of the year. I think Caleb Williams is going to get it. You know, usually it kind of goes to a quarterback if they can have a really good season. So I'm going to stick with that one. I'm going to say Caleb Williams is offense rookie of the year.
I'm going to pick Jalen Daniels.
All right, I like it. Yeah, I mean, he's going to be the starter in Washington too, so I'm excited to see. Drake May will be sitting behind Jacoby Brissett for a little while. I thought that was good for him because I thought he could use a little time to kind of sit and learn. So I'm happy that the Patriots aren't just rushing him into the situation. Yeah, he actually had a pretty decent preseason. He had some good moments and looked pretty good. So I'm excited to see what Drake May can do. But moving on to Defensive Rookie of the Year, I'm going to pick Dallas Turner for the Vikes. I think he's going to come in, and I think he's going to have close to double-digit sacks this year for us, and he's going to make a difference on defense.
Yeah, I totally agree. I'm going to pick Dallas Turner. Uh, he was probably my favorite person that we drafted in the whole draft. Yes, I was hyped about JJ McCartney, but I was just so stoked that we got Turner. And of course, he's a Bama boy. And I think he's going to be a tear on that defense side of the ball this year for us. And I am super excited to watch number 15 get double-digit sacks this year.
No doubt, no doubt. So, well, that's our offensive or our kind of season predictions. Now we're going to move on to the Super Bowl. My Super Bowl prediction this year, I have the Baltimore Ravens versus the San Francisco 49ers. I have San Fran back in there, and I have San Fran winning it this year. I think they get it done.
Wow, you put the pressure on me on this one. Sorry, guys. I might have to get this tattoo, but I'm gonna go Kansas City and San Francisco
You're going to
again.
have a rematch.
I'm gonna have a rematch. But I'm gonna pick San Francisco over Kansas City. So I don't have to get that
Okay.
Kansas City tattoo.
Yeah, just to kind of put a little maybe background on that one. In a earlier podcast in season one, was a kind of a little joke that if the Kansas City Chiefs would repeat or three-peat as Super Bowl champs, that Big D would have to be getting a Kansas City tattoo on his calf. So we'll see what happens, Big D. If Kansas City and San Fran are playing in the Super Bowl, I think you're going to be extremely nervous in a wreck.
Dude, I'll be sitting on the edge of my seat, like just my hands would just be sweating. I'm like, all right, come on, Sam, you need to pull off this win.
No doubt, no doubt. So Zach's Super Bowl prediction, he texted me. He said he thinks the Eagles are going to beat the Ravens 27-24. So him and I both had the same AFC team. I didn't know that he had Baltimore in there. So I think Baltimore is going to be a pretty stout team. They have already a really good defense. Having Lamar Jackson with that rushing attack with Derrick Henry now, I think that's going to be very helpful for them. So I'm excited. I'm excited for this season, and I'm just ready to roll on. As a lot of people might know, I'm a big Notre Dame football fan. They have a big game tomorrow versus Texas A&M. Super nervous for that because Texas A&M has one of the toughest stadiums to go and play in. But yeah, I'm just excited for college football. I'm excited for high school football. Try to get to some old Denfeld football games when I can this season up on 6th Street. Super excited about Vikings football and just the NFL in general. So really looking forward to this season and hope you all know if you're listening to this, you're looking forward to it too. And thank you for listening. We'll catch you next time. Skol Vikes.
Skol Vikes.
Straight cash, homie. Thank you for listening to our episode. Be sure to give us a follow on Instagram and X at Naptime Sports Talk Podcast for content related to the pod. Thank you for the support.